What's good? It's your boy Jake Jones with Jake Jones Comedy, and in my last video I gave you writing, recording, and rehearsal techniques, how to make millions of dollars in stand-up comedy in just 5 easy steps. That is one of my favorite new videos. Go and watch that in the link below. In this video, we're going to be less concrete and more abstract. I'm going to answer some tricky questions as to how comedy actually works. Something that's been on my mind for such a long time. Why is this funny? Because let's face it, no matter how successful you are in this world, there will come times and challenges when you start asking the hard questions, the tough questions of life. I don't care whether you're sleeping in a car, which I have, or you're sleeping in a penthouse with all the amenities included, like that guy in the morning routine video, which I have. But now I find myself at a point where I start questioning the logic of comedy. This is the greatest mistake you can ever make, is taking shit seriously when it comes to this art form. Obviously, there's some shit that I think being logical about gives you a certain level of pride, but here's what I'm going to explain away in this video. First of all, you've all probably heard the phrase, comedy is timing. If you've had any interest in this field whatsoever, comedy is like tragedy plus time or whatever. There really isn't a whole lot of truth to that. I used to believe that, but now I realize, no. You may recall George Carlin's old bit, I think it was from '78 or something. It was from like his Phoenix special, where he says, there is no time, we made it up. And I've been thinking about that bit recently because it's so true. That is so true. There is no time, and I'm going to prove it to you. You can measure time, right? You can measure how long is this joke going to take for me to say it. 10 to 15 seconds, right? That's the industry standard. A bit may take 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes, but rarely any longer than a few minutes unless you're like on George Carlin's level or whatever, or unless you're Bill Burr ranting about his wife for 30 fucking minutes. That's a whole nother story. Did you guys like that special? Let me know in the comments, because I'm kind of, I don't know. Laughter is a lapse of logic. But basically what I mean by this is, take something that you're scared of. This is in the book How to Kill in Comedy, by the way. It's all psychological, and which I highly recommend reading. You should not watch this video, and you should skip straight to that book on Amazon if you're really serious about killing in comedy. Take something you're scared of, which is usually, 99% of the time, is an irrational fear. Like, say, it's a traffic accident or a disease or something. And then you take that fear and you use it. A great comedian uses everything. He uses his innermost fears of being critiqued by society, being judged by society for having maybe a fetish or a particular way of doing things, or just not being a conformist in general. And I have jokes about that coming up as well. But it's this sort of feigned ignorance. You know, that was the original title of this channel, Ignorance, and that kind of inspired me in a way too, because it's like, well, I am ignorant, aren't I? Because I'm dumb. I'm the student. But one thing I've learned is when it comes to criticizing other comics, you want to have a certain levity, because it's not about being liked. The worst thing you can do, second worst thing you can do, number one is take shit seriously. The second worst thing you can do, I think, is try to get everybody to like you, because that's just not that's not how life works, right? You know. I mean, I don't care whether you're in a cubicle playing office politics, you're on your lunch break, right? And you're watching Korn, because this is YouTube. I guess I gotta say fucking Korn now, but you guys are adults, you know what the fuck I'm talking about. There's no kids watching this video. They're probably watching Korn, unironically, unfortunately, but that's a whole other subject. And you're sitting in your cubicle, lounging in your lunch break, and you've got like a half-eaten bologna sandwich, no mayo, no nothing on Wonder Bread, and you're surfing and you're checking over your shoulder in your swivel chair to make sure your boss isn't riding your crop and all this shit. And you do that, and then all of a sudden the lights are off and time's passed and everybody's left work and the ants are all over your bologna sandwich and you're like, fuck, man, what happened? I'm getting a little personal here, but you get it's like being Neo in the Matrix, right? You've got to understand that laughter, when was the last time you've tried to explain a laugh or measure a laugh? This is how it gets back to my idea that there is no time. Even though you get time on stage, you know, people say, like, oh, come here and do 10 minutes, do 15 minutes, do an hour, do 30 minutes, whatever it is. But in reality, if you're making people laugh, if you're killing that hard, they don't give a shit if you go overtime. They don't give a shit if you go under time. You know, as long as you're giving the crowd their money's worth and you're making them feel what they want to feel. And this is really the coldness of human nature on full display here, and this is why most comedians come to kind of despise it and be cynical and detached and depraved human beings in their own minds. But here's the trick. This is why I advocate for a balanced lifestyle in all cases, because when you go on that stage, you know, these industry queers and stuff, they'll try and loosen up your booty hole a little bit by giving you the whole, they'll try and make a little bitch out of you and say, hey, just relax, man, just relax on stage, you gotta compose yourself, you gotta go deep into that relaxation, you gotta relax, you gotta rub your titties, bro, you gotta relax. No, it's comedy. The point of comedy is frustration and anger and fear and chaos and stress. I mean, even Norm Macdonald realizes that. He's the most relaxed comic probably, or one of them, or Mark Normand, or you know these guys who like appear casual on stage, but really what they're describing is chaos. They're describing the book about the Metamorphosis by Franz Kafka, where the guy wakes up as a beetle. That would be a fucking nightmare, right? Fuck, I realized I forgot to hit record on the goddamn microphone, so now the audio is gonna suck shit in this video. But fuck it, I'm going all in and I'm finishing it. This is just shit for life in general. Attack the thought, not the person. Because when you attack a person directly and there's emotion tied to that, you're really attacking yourself. So neutralize it by attacking the thought and just say, hey, that's a stupid thought. This goes back to your fear. Fear of bombing. You know, fear of bitches not liking you. Or fear that fucking bitch not responding to your stupid fucking email. You know, it's like, oh, that's a stupid thought. It doesn't exist. Therefore, I have conquered it. And if you can laugh at something, one of my favorite quotes is from Miss Pat. She's fucking hilarious. And she said something, I think it might have been on a Rogan podcast or back when I watched that shit, which I don't anymore. But she said something like, if you can laugh at it, you've conquered it. You've beat it. That was a piece of wisdom for me. And there's so many bits like that. It's like, you don't have to be this Bill Hicks, this kind of dour, like, deep philosopher necessarily. I probably am skewed toward that more in real life, but that's entirely different from your onstage persona. And this is where the illusion of separation must actually be intact. All this shit, like, all these fucking spiritual niggas on YouTube being like, oh man, yeah, you know, we're the same and we're all one and all that. Well, that would be logic. And in comedy, there is no logic. It goes directly against logic and morality and most people's morality, honestly. Like the shit, like you could make excuses for bestiality and war and pedophilia if you're really digging deep into the recesses of the human mind. And this is what I've learned. And I've been offended by this. And of course, everybody has their line. But the point is to understand that oneness in your own life. But in the comedy world, there is no logic. It's all stupidity. Don't be a dick. That's another one you're going to hear a lot. It's that inverse language where it's like, no, you are a dick though because you're a comedian. That's literally your job. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you have to be the worst person in the world on stage. But once you get off stage, then people actually think you are that guy. And that's when you gotta walk the fuck away. I don't care how much they offer you. I don't care if it's like millions of dollars in a check. If these people don't understand that it's an act and that, you know, when they judge you off stage and it's like you're shy, you're actually not who you are on stage. No shit, bitch! It's like I gotta deal with fucking idiots every day, man.